knows that when they registered to speak, they were going to have 2 minutes. So please don't try and take the microphone from me. Everything is being filmed. Everything is being recorded because we want to ensure that as many people as possible can bear witness to this pledge. It's set in the ground right in front of Bay 56, but you can also see it here behind me and also on the gate. It's set in the ground so that in years to come, this commitment will stand, and each year we'll find a way of marking this event. The community have entrusted the trustees of the Westway Trust to keep and improve the land on behalf of the many communities of North Kensington. For the remainder of the Trust's lease on the land, the Trust pledges that the land under Bay 56 will be under the leadership of the African Caribbean community. If the Trust were ever to gain an extension on their lease on the land from TfL, then we would apply that extension to the commitment on Bay 56. I've been at the Trust for just over 4 years, and I walk down Thorpe Close and I see the pods. I see Carmen, Charlene, Michelle, Levi. You know all these people, they're running their businesses. I look at 2 Thorpe Close to the right-hand side. This space is now a free space for community use. Emmanuel is in Love's Kitchen, providing sustenance for our community. I see 3 to 5 Thorpe Close under being operated by 3 local men. And I thank Portia and her trustees who are leading the African Caribbean Cultural Centre in number 6 Thorpe Close. I see Rosita in her shop, Portobello Shack, and at 12 Acklam Acres, backed by the Trust and being led by Demoy. So much has improved in the last 4 years. We've opened 11 new community spaces for community use. What you see outside the Trust offices and on the estate is matched by development within the organisation. We are pushing the envelope, and we thank those who are working with us on all these aspects. The Trust is changing for the better, and we have progressive plans to ensure ongoing work alongside the community so that no one can forget the contributions of the individuals and activists who have worked to make this unique piece of land in this place a better place. We know that there are more gains to be made with land that is still not under community leadership, and we can only progress that particular agenda with the community support. Any one of us can read about social justice or racial justice. Making change in practice is harder. It takes all sorts of approaches and all sorts of talents to work with what is the art of the possible. If we hold out for perfection for everyone, whether that's within the estate, your land, or within the Trust, the organisation and the land will stagnate. We have and will continue to offer courageous leadership, which means leading when things are difficult. This is what the Trust is committed to doing. We won't pretend it's easy, but we will work with everyone we can to make a difference. When you have a courageous leadership role, somebody said to me only this afternoon that you need to have accountability and responsibility, and then you have possibility. And that's what we're trying to bring together in our work with the community. So you know who you are, who gave me that phrase earlier this afternoon. Thank you, and we want to harness your talent in this as well. The speakers today are in alphabetical order, so I'll ask you to join me to share your contribution.
like Andrew Abdeliza in an alphabetical list, I'm always the lucky one to go first. But as our name, the Board of Trustees, is at the bottom of this pledge, I think it seems fitting that we should represent it and embody what it means to us. So, my name is Andrew Abdeliza. It has been my honour to serve as a trustee and now co-vice chair on the board of the Westway Trust. I was appointed in 2024 after an open recruitment process that introduced me to some of the communities that we are proud to number amongst the trust beneficiaries. Since I began over 18 months ago, those communities have continued to be my patient mentors in understanding how the trust can better operate for the benefit of all of our beneficiaries. They have been role models in the positive impact of community organising. At the same time, the team working at the Trust, who are also represented here this afternoon, have shown honest, diligent resolve in embracing the change that has been required of us, to reflect on and learn from past experiences and to move forwards positively. This remarkable, complex, confounding, creative part of our city has been seen more than its fair share of trauma. However, in partnership with our beneficiary communities, I believe the Westway Trust, when operating at its best, can be a mechanism of repair. That is what we are aiming for. Please hold us to that goal and be part of that effort. When the board was asked to comment on the text for this marker, we challenged ourselves to say something not only relevant to the needs of our communities now, but to consider where we might be and how it might be understood in 5, 10, and 20 years' time. To the next generation of community advocates, to an entirely new cohort of trustees and management. And that is why it is important to us, not only to acknowledge past mistakes, but also to mark the ability to change. In pledging part of this precious estate to the Afro-Caribbean communities of North Kensington, for as long as the Trust endures, we say clearly, something happened here. A change was needed. There is something here to work on together. There is space here to make things better. It is in this sense that it is the best that the Westway Trust can do, and I'm personally proud and honoured to be part of this day. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I ask Jeddah Ali to come forward, please? Jeddah Ali. Maybe we'll come back to you. Can I ask Stella B to come forward, please? Stella B. Can I ask Eric? Oh, you want to? Yeah, great. Don't take the microphone from me.
Okay, cool. Hello everyone. I thought I was going to get to hear what was being said before being invited to speak, but now I've just considered, I think, you know what, it's best that I just speak organically from the heart. I've lived in Ladbroke Grove for about 17 years. Before that, I was placed in foster care on St. Mark's Road when I was 15, in 19 something, not giving you my age. And basically, I love the area. I love the people. A lot of the people know me. One thing that breaks my heart is the way that creative people are priced out of being able to engage in the things, take opportunities. This area could provide so much for the residents, and the residents can provide so much for London and the world, but we're being priced out. It's a numbers game, and I hear that managements are changing with stuff like that, but I feel like it's too little too late. And unless there's going to be an immense actual action that's going to help the youngsters, those younger than me, those older than me, and my age, to actually capitalize on the creative energy of this Ladbroke Grove that we call home, I just think it's a travesty. When I first came here, I wanted to create something called a community cohesive collective with incentive cards for the area, and I got no support. Westway gave me the runabout when I was trying to get office space next to Uncle Niles and stuff like that. Uncle Niles was helping me. We got the run around. The administration changed, and they acted like they was going to help us, and they gave me the run around as well. I submitted 3 different business plans, and I've actually sat here and watched the business ideas that I came up with be utilized in the same spaces that I've asked to for people that can afford. And I just think this is disgusting. It breaks my heart every time I walk around here and I see the art spaces, the art spaces and all these create spaces, and all people want to do in here is take our money, act like they're working for us, and give us aromatherapy. We don't want no more aromatherapy. We don't want no more yoga. Yeah, we don't want no more like what they did in Latimer City. We don't want no more yoga, no more anything. We just want the spaces so that we can, you know, use our ingenuity and our innovations and, you know, create some stuff. That's what I wanted to say.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your contribution. Can I now ask Stella B? Is Stella B here? No? Can I ask Eric Bladman to come forward, please? Eric?
Well, it's really nice to be here in this space I like to refer to as Little Guantanamo. It was originally a space that was accessible to the community, but now has been barred off. So you need permission to come inside here under the kind of territorial imperialist concept and the kind of paternalistic way in which the trust is operated. Anyhow, like I say, it's a pleasure to be here, mainly because after 8 years of struggle with the Westway Trust and some fully paid up quislings in the community, I hope you're feeling vexed because that means we know who you are, led by our resolute microphone holder. But in spite of all this struggle, and actually I was going to open with the point that every effort is made to curtail and muzzle the voice of the community. So you see, if they had their way, they'd have a notification that very few people, most of the people here heard about it because Niles or myself sent a text. Yeah? I'm sorry if you're having trouble hearing me. I know there's a loud mouth, so anyhow. So most of the people here, if they hadn't been notified by myself or Niles, there wouldn't really be any relevant members of the community here. Like I said, the fully paid up quislings, they'd be here for sure. So to highlight when I say the struggle against these people, 8 years now, we are asking for a tap inside of Bay 56. In the whole 8 years, up to today, there's no tap. We got a plaque celebrating what is going to be grief for the legacy to the black community. But I think it's an indication of the contempt in which we are held. My man said, Jedi rightfully said that we're being priced out and so on. But just in many ways that we are being denied access. Pricing is one aspect only, but actually look at your clock.
Yeah, I'm checking.
Yeah, you check your clock. Yeah, don't interrupt
ahead.
it. Yeah. So as Jedi say, we've been priced out. No, it's in the same spirit as managed decline. This is intentional. This is intentional. We're being marginalized in every way conceivable. And everybody that don't see that is fully paid up, is a sellout.
Thank you, Eric. Thanks. Can I hear from Alexander Great? No? Okay. Can I hear from Emmanuel de Silva? Oh, sorry, Alexander? Oh, right, okay, sorry, so you don't want to speak. Okay, can I hear from Emmanuel de Silva? Emmanuel here? Emmanuel here? No, coming back to Emmanuel. Can I hear from Joanna Edwards? Is Joanna Edwards here? Joanna? Joanna? Would you like to? Someone has, yeah.
Everyone.
Go ahead.
It's nice to see
No,
a
don't
nice
take the
turnout.
microphone, just let
Yeah,
me
okay,
get it on.
okay. Well, it's a good thing that you're doing. Really, the Caribbean people, the Windrush generation, were the ones who built up under this flyover. They built it up with their bare hands on a voluntary basis, and I'm really happy to see today that at last they're being recognised for this, in particular the Windrush generation. Okay?
Okay, thank you very much. One of our trustees, Des Campbell, was not able to be here today, but he's given me a piece to read for him, so I'm just going to do that now. Des is someone who's lived in the area for many years, and he lives just off at the top end of Portobello Road, just off the top end of Portobello Road. He's one of our trustees, and he's one of our newer trustees, and he was an openly recruited trustee. He says, Notting Hill Ladbroke Grove is a community in transition. It remains a vibrant, rich area, home to diverse communities with all sorts of languages and traditions. This character has long been a defining feature of the neighbourhood, and it contributes to its dynamism. It has always been a haven for communities new to the country, particularly those who found solidarity and opportunity in its bustling streets. However, the regeneration of the area, most notably the construction of the Westway bypass, has had complex and lasting effects. While it was intended to modernise the infrastructure and improve connectivity, such developments displaced many long-standing residents, mostly targeted marginalised groups. The gentrification that followed has brought some economic enhancements, but it's also stirred tremendous feelings of resentment. And these changes are not inherently detrimental to the community, but they have altered its social fabric. The thriving hub has gradually been pushed to the fringes of Kensington and Chelsea, making way for much wealthier newcomers who can afford the soaring property prices. This shift leads to even more precariousness, leads to even more fragmentation of the community spirit. And the once defined Notting Hill, the rising rents, the property values have made it impossible for the original residents to remain. And the close-knit atmosphere has given way to a much more commercialised landscape. Today, shops, boutique hotels and wine bars dominate the streets where often there were local markets and community gatherings that flourished. Whilst Notting Hill continues to attract global attention and investment, the challenge remains that it does not seep to all parts of the borough, and we must preserve its cultural heritage and ensure that regeneration does not come at the cost of social division. He likes the idea of Portobello's Speakers' Corners, and he says it presents an opportunity for those to give voice to free speech, which will inform the trust and drive community empowerment. Thank you, Des. So in alphabetical order, the next speaker is Tom Fitch. Tom, please welcome. Emmanuel, hold on, I'll call you back. It's Tom Fitch first, and then... No, come on, Tom. Yeah, I know, but... Emmanuel, I'll come back to you, I promise. Don't take the mic.
Don't take the mic, sorry. Okay, I just put this... Yeah, lots of positive things are being said, but I also want us to look at what's going on under the surface. That bay, it's called Bay 56. That's because there's about 60 bays, 62 bays. So we're talking about one bay for the Afro-Caribbean community who've been here for a very long time and who were involved in actually setting up North Kensington Amenity Trust. It's not a lot, but it is something. Now, I want to raise two principles which Westway Trust has put forward in its recent publicity: actively identify and address instances of discrimination or bias within the organisation. I raised 4 issues of racism by senior management and middle management at the last AGM. I'd like to know after the meeting, in writing, whether any of that has been investigated. And the new trustees who come in and say, everything is so great, I'd like you to keep an eye on this, has the racism in the last 2 or 3 years actually been investigated? Because it's taking place, or it took place, at a very senior level. I say took place for legal reasons, okay? I can't say, I'm not a trustee of Westway Trust at the moment, so I can't say what's happening now. Number 2, high standards of performance. I ask specifically that those managers, particularly one of them, who don't have qualifications for their jobs, study diplomas at degree level in their own, well, in Westway Trust time, so that they are qualified and have the knowledge sets for those jobs. Now, there's 6 areas, key areas of management. I'm a bit risky on identifying them, but they're what you would expect, where you would expect qualified staff to be there. The only qualified member of staff in the senior management team, as far as I'm aware, is the accountant. The accountants have always had qualifications. They've often been weak. Sometimes they've been terrible, but they've always had qualifications. The rest of the management, as far as I'm aware, has no qualification for the job that they're doing. I take into account life experience. That's fantastic. Life experience is very important. But sometimes, or always, you need to know the knowledge sets of what you're doing. I'll just, sorry. For instance, still within the concept of internal racism, there's an area of therapy which they do at the Grenville Wellbeing Centre called narrative exposure therapy, which helps a person go into their life history and understand the culture and the baggage which they're carrying with them. My personal estimate is that it would take 3 to 5 years, and that's not an insult. It would take 3 to 5 years of 1 hour a week for somebody to go through that sort of therapy and ditch the racism which they brought through from their family and their socialisation. I believe we all carry some racism. As a white person, I know I carried racism, and I suspect, well, I know I still do. I try to get rid of it, I still do. But if you don't go through how that came into your mind, how that came into your headspace and your knowledge sets, you won't get rid of it. Now, that would cost, thank you. That, speed up. No, good. That would cost 150,000 over 5 years for a wage bill of 2 million. It's about 7%. So it is a lot of money, but at 7% it is affordable, and it would be groundbreaking, because we're not really going to end racism unless we help people get into their own headspaces and understand why it's there. Somebody said to me, it was a Caribbean person, when I was describing racism at Westway Trust, they said, nobody's held the mirror up to them. They haven't seen it. And that is true. That makes a lot of sense to me. If you've always held views which are subconsciously racist, even if they're not conscious, and you've never actually looked at them in the mirror, you'll carry on having those views. I think Westway Trust has got a very tough job eliminating its racism. I think it's got to be fairly gentle about it. It's got to fit in with employment law and all the regulations it has, but it's got to be done, and it's got to be shown that it's moving on it. And I ask the new trustees in particular to keep a tab on this and to ask every 2 months, what progress are we making on this? I know you've got your...
Thank you, Tom. Okay, thank you very much. Thanks. Thank you. Right, so Emmanuel, can I ask you to come forward? No, so we set the rules at the beginning. 2 minutes, don't take the microphone. I'm right here holding the microphone for you. Go ahead.
Peace, love and light to everyone who's here. I have to congratulate Venu because she's helped me an astronomical amount, okay, in my journey. Yeah? Love's Kitchen is run by me and my wife, Laura, okay? And right now, I want to talk about, Tom just talked about racism. That's a misnomer. It's a nonsense, yeah? All this racism. Bob Marley said, beware of the isms and schisms, okay? I am just praying to the Most High God that all this what's going on here is not cosmetic. I don't want it to be just a show that we're doing this and we're doing that, because there is a lot within our community which needs to be addressed, okay? There is an astronomical amount of youths on the streets with their heads in a mess. Our kids, their mothers. We've got young baby mothers who are young kids raising children, okay? We haven't addressed that. We've got people within the community trying to do business. They can't afford to even do business here. We just had the butcher shut down the other day. okay? Because he can't afford the rent down here. The gentrification of Ladbroke Grove, yeah, now called Notting Hill, yeah, is not acceptable. It's not acceptable. We need to get back to Ladbroke Grove and do what needs to be done for the people in Ladbroke Grove, yeah? All the money was earned during Carnival, all the money was earned from Westway Trust, all the money was earned right through. All the money needs to be generated back into the community so that we can have positive frequencies and positive vibrations, so that the youth can learn about politics, so that they can learn about money management, so that they can learn about being a good, healthy family within our community. We're talking about African Caribbean community. I only know the Caribbean community. People ask me where I'm from. I say from my mother's womb. Yeah? I'm a Ladbroke Grovian. I'm not a Trinidadian. I'm not a Grenadian. I'm not a Jamaican. Yeah? I'm a Ladbroke Grovian, born and bred right here. Okay? So let's bring it back and have some respect for ourselves. Yeah? And what is there available for us, utilize within our community. Yeah? The main thing what needs to be brought back into our community is unity. There's too much crab in a barrel. Too much crab in a barrel. Everybody want this and everybody want that. Everybody want this, everybody want that. How much can I get there? How much can I get here? You saw it at Carnival. They paid £1,100 for their stalls, right? Yeah? So they was charging £25 for rice and peas and jerk chicken. £25. Imagine that. Yeah, so that they could get their money, so that they could pay the rent to Kensington and Chelsea and operate. This is wrong. This is too much pressure within our community. We need to ease up that pressure. They're talking about institutional racism. Where is the repair?
Thank you. Thank you, Emmanuel. Good questions. Right. We're about halfway through. Lloyd Gordon. Hello, Lloyd. Welcome.
Hiya. I'm Lloyd Gordon. I've been a teacher around here for years. I've got 8 children grew up around here. I moved here in the late 70s. My dad came on a Windrush. Closer to the mic. Well, I'm not in control of that. I've just watched the degradation of this area and our community over years. No money's been invested back. We talk about Westway. I've been involved in Basic 56 without water, trying to run a club without a toilet, without any help, obstacles put in front of us. My main thing is to help the community, help the children and the adults grow together so we can bond together. But there's no place for us to do that. There's too much high rents, and that stops us doing things. I don't talk about racism, I talk about coloured prejudice. People are already judging you and stopping us doing things. Our community is very mixed and very loving, but we don't have the money to have the spaces to keep our communities growing. We're struggling and we're not getting any help. And like Emmanuel just said, no money's getting put back into the money they take off us for our carnival, for it to be a world event. I don't know too much about your Westway, but I just know you're a stumbling block for everybody. That's about it.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm now going to invite Niles Hailstones. Niles, come on up.
You're going to have to let go of this mic. No, you're going to have to let go of it, otherwise I'm not talking.
Hold it. Hold it, yeah.
Let go.
Okay, but you've got 2 minutes.
All right, that's a metaphor for what's going on. You saw what just happened? That's a metaphor for what is actually going on. Yeah?
Go ahead. Got 2 minutes.
This is about power sharing.
Yeah.
The trust has gone. You can keep telling me I've got 2 minutes,
Yeah.
but I've got the mic in my hand now.
Yeah, I know you have.
So, right, what I was saying is, yeah, this is about power sharing. This organization has been incapable of power sharing. This is what's going on. Just demonstrated by the dynamic that you just saw. I had to force the issue to get the microphone, right?
Being egalitarian here.
No, let's not use those words. Let's talk the
Keep going,
truth.
keep going.
Everybody you keep interrupting me, yeah? Everybody who come here forward, I totally agree with everything they said. Because what you'll notice is, everybody who came and spoke from the community spoke about real issues that affect us. And the people that come from the trust will talk about how well the trust is doing with this issue. Right? That's what's going on. Now, the truth of the matter is, this wouldn't be happening unless we force the issue. Listen to what I'm saying. This wouldn't be happening today unless we force the issue. This is not something that organizations like the trust are willing to do because they are corporate bodies. They are now property developers and whatever else masking as charities. This is what's going on. So in this situation, I agree with everything that this community came and said before, because it's their truth and their reality. So I don't need to repeat anything that was said before. I think it's been quite eloquently explained by everyone who came before. Yeah? But that dynamic that just happened when I came to the microphone, I want you to remember that. You see that first move there? How it had to go an extra step to get that microphone? Just know as a community, no matter what agreements are made, you're going to have to go that extra step to get any result. And that's what the trust needs to stop doing. Stop making us go to that extra step to make change. Let's do it in true cooperation, true power sharing, that we don't have to keep fighting and battling. And I've been doing this, as you know, up to this afternoon to prevent me from shutting this down. And I have to draw myself back and think about what this means to the next generation. Because I want everybody here to know this is not about me or my generation. This is about the next generation. And we are committing in this space to empower that generation and hand over after our period to that next generation. So whoever's on that, you're on the right page. Whoever's not dealing with that agenda, I'm not interested in. And people can fight and argue as much as they want, yeah? You've got to be about the next generation taking this over, having something that is actually an economical base that they can work from and prosper in the future. Because that's what our community has been denied for over 50 years. And we're paying the cost. That's why these things are going on the streets. No, hold on. No. I'm being fair. I'm being fair. I'm being fair. If you're going to stop me, but I'm going to carry on. I've got one more thing to say, yeah? The most important, everyone gets 2 minutes. This is the kind of thing that is causing problems for you, yeah? That kind of overbearing, patronizing attitude, yeah? We've been in here for 8 years, independently, without funding, to get to this point. And then you're telling me we've only got 2 minutes. Cool. All right. You see this line here about the 67 years? That's the most important thing for people to remember here, because we ain't going to be here for 67 years. But if you own this thing today and you demand justice, you demand something from this, then maybe the next generation can get something out of this. But today, as someone said earlier today, as far as I'm concerned, this is cosmetic. And the reason I'm talking like this is because this is supposed to happen in front of the building, not in here. But the goalposts always change at the last minute. So we're now in here where we should have been in the front of the building. I want to give thanks to everybody. I'm going to give thanks to everybody who has supported us through this 8 years. Yeah?
You don't want to speak? Come. Only if you take 2 minutes. Only if you take 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Just give me the microphone, please. Thank you. Right. Greetings, everyone. Respect. Respect is a very good thing. It's a very interesting word because I have to say this is an amazing thing. I think it's great that what we have achieved. I think it's important that to acknowledge those of us that have made it happen. I agree with what Nasa said, the people that I have listened to speaking before. I think they've said some really significant things. But I think that the way it's happened, this is supposed to be about reparations. And nowhere on here does it say reparations. It's about reparations, yeah? The trust is found to be institutionally racist for the last 50 years and continues to be. Continues to be. So, as I say, I don't want to take anything away from what's happening today because it is about the next generation, you know, and that's what we've all been about. But they need to actually deal with us in a different way. The whole community, they need to be respectful. They need to, I think this whole thing of like, it's interesting, this speaker's corner thing, that's just done for the black people, to divide and rule. I actually think it's a very good idea that Speaker's Corner is done on a regular basis for the Westway Trust, so that all of the community can have their say about what they want across the whole 23 acres. That's equity, that's equality, and that's a good start, yeah? So this is what I propose. So, yeah, that's really all I have to say, and I suppose that's my 2 minutes up. But thank you for everyone that has worked in there, sat in there with the rats, sat in there with the foxes, slept overnight to guard the place, everyone that's put the time in, put the energy in, who's donated, you know, Rabbi, people like that, those come and donated stuff to us. Thank you. That's all I can say.
Thanks. Right. The next person is going to speak on behalf of one of our trustees, Jonathan Kelly, who's speaking on behalf of Jonathan Kelly. Martin, please come forward. Don't take the microphone from me. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm speaking on behalf of Jonathan Kelly, who is one of our openly recruited trustees. He's been on the board for 4 years, and he's also a local resident. He sends his apologies that he's not able to be here this afternoon. But he has asked me to read out this short statement on his behalf. As trustees, we are proud to commit land to the creation of a new African Caribbean Cultural Centre, a space that honours the heritage, creativity and resilience of our community. We recognise the deep wounds caused by racism, both past and present, and we acknowledge the lasting impact of the Westway flyover, which displaced and disrupted generations of African Caribbean families and businesses. This centre will be both a place of remembrance and renewal, a commitment to ensuring that the voices, culture and contributions of our community are celebrated, protected and passed on to future generations. Thank you very much, Jonathan, for that.
Thank you, Martin. Thanks, Jonathan. Okay, the next person I'd like to ask to speak is Isis. Isis, please. We're not doing questions. Isis. Where is Isis? Come forward. It's all recorded. You can go online and have a look.
Greetings, all greetings. So I want to first of all say I'm really pleased to know that finally, after all the struggle, the African Caribbean community has been given recognition and the guarantee of a space through the Westway Trust. However, there's been some talk about the next generation, and I just want to focus on that, on the next steps. So it's all very well that we talk about the African community, but my question is, who is the African or African Caribbean community? I tend to use African with a K I'm a Pan-Africanist. So I feel that that hasn't been quite defined. And what will happen in the space, because it was mentioned before when Venu started speaking about accountability and responsibility. And another important thing is role models. You see, many people talk, they've got loud voices, they say a lot of things, but what are the actions that follow those words? That is the thing we need to focus on. Who are going to be the role models? What is going to happen? How is the space going to be used? How is it going to be managed? What systems are going to be in place? Because there's no point setting up something to fail. So I'm interested in knowing who the African Caribbean community are, how they'll be running the space, what thought will be given to how we represent ourselves, the principles we follow, Mahat, Ubuntu. What are we going to be doing with the space? So that's my question. I think it's a brilliant initiative, and I look forward to the next steps and what the future will be for the future generations of African Caribbean people. Thank you.
Thank you, Isis. Thank you. So really interesting, because this, even what we've heard so far, is unraveling and uncovering so many things. So we're still about halfway through. So the next person I'm going to ask, I don't know whether Toby's here yet. Is Toby here yet? He's on his way. So Toby here yet, the chair of our board? Is he here? Okay. Can he come forward? Toby, great, thank you. And then next up after Toby is John Mills. Toby.
Thank you, Venu. And thank you to everyone here today. I haven't got too much to say, because I just don't think that I would have the time and space to say everything that I would need to say. The same, I think, as many other people in here already today. This has been so many years in the making. You've heard the trials and the tribulations that so many have been through and continue to go through. And really, there's only one thing I can guarantee, and that is that there will be more trials and tribulations. That is the nature of the collaboration. That is the nature of the situation. There is a challenge going on here, a very direct challenge between grassroots community and corporate institution. And that is a very, very challenging and complex situation. But there have been so many people, many of them in the room today, who have been putting so much energy into meeting that challenge. So I just want to give my thanks and my respect to all of those who have been part of the challenge up to now, part of this journey, and as it will continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Toby. Okay, the next person on my list is John Mills. John Mills. Is he around? Okay, we'll come back. The next person is Manuel Marino. Manuel, do you want to say anything? Okay, the next person on my list is Leslie Palmer. Leslie, are you here? I might need to come to Leslie. Leslie, are you here? Yeah? Please let him take his time. You've had your turn, can you wait? Look, it's not about me. I know he's taking his time. Thank you. Leslie, please come forward. We'll say it later. We'll say it later. Leslie, can I get you a chair? Yeah. It's all right. He can say what's my hand. Leslie, please come forward. It actually won't fit, I don't think, once it's got all the wires and everything around. I'll hold it. It's okay, I'll fine. You hold on. It won't fit because these bits. I'll hold it for you, Leslie. I'll hold it. I'm happy to hold it for you. No, I'm fine. I'm sure you want to stand.
Give me that.
There we go. I'll hold the frame for you, Leslie.
Whoa. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a long time we haven't seen each other. Well, I know politician, and sometimes I just have to talk from my heart. But maybe I'm wrong. But I don't think so. However, I want to tell you something. In 1973, there's a building, the only building standing here, all the way to Ladbroke Grove. I'm telling you what that building was. The building was the first thing that we had. It was the Akram Hall. And they built the building so that we could have our weddings, our christenings, our wakes. I couldn't believe when somebody bought it, somebody that rented it. I'm trying to tell you something was just incredible. How could you rent out the community property and to make it a money-making thing? And that means all the weddings, all the christenings, all the things that we were built for, we couldn't do it anymore. This place is a contradiction. Remember, this land belongs to you. And I felt empowered. I felt empowered to do the carnival because I started it at Portobello Green, and that land belongs to us. You must not forget that.
Thank you. Then let's give this to, get this to you, if you manage. Excellent. Thank you, Leslie. I'm now going to invite Gino Parker to speak next. Gino, thank you.
Hi, thank you. Some of you know me, some of you don't, but I really just want to reference one thing. I was raised in this area and I've given back a lot. And actually, I want to acknowledge a woman of Caribbean heritage who has raised actually many others in this community too. And there are so many Black women like her and individuals like her that never get recognized, that always do the work, they do the hard work. This person, Marcia Haynes, has done everything from organizing community Christmas parties from 30 years ago. She runs Grove United and other community groups, summer day trips for low-earning families who can't afford to take their children abroad. She does this all in her own time as a local resident. She's run first aid courses for young people, cultural celebrations, stop and search workshops for young people. She organised a historic walk and march for Kelso Cochrane and held a service at St. Michael's Church to acknowledge and highlight his life. This area wouldn't be what it is now for the women like her that have led the way, and I don't think they get the acknowledgement they deserve, so I really want to thank you, Marcia.
Thank you. It's really great that you've congratulated and marked people that mean something to you, Gino. Thank you. I'd like now to invite somebody to come and read on behalf of one of our trustees, Minal Patel. Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Good evening, everybody. Mina couldn't be here today or to this evening, so I'm reading a statement that she's wrote specifically for this event. The Trust has not always acted in the best interest of the African and Caribbean community, which our statement clearly says. We, as current trustees, do not take this lightly, and we are not naive to our responsibilities. We can give you words of assurance, and some may not accept them. In my mind, actions sometimes say more than words, and we can only hope that the community can see all we are doing to eradicate institutional racism. We made some great steps forward, but who knows what the future holds? Will racism be eradicated across the country? I think not. Not completely. But I know the Westway, our actions are breakthrough for others to follow. The plans for Bay 56, working alongside One Voice Community Collective, the CAG, and other African Caribbean community groups, we can make a huge difference in North Kensington and beyond. We hope you will have the confidence in us to keep trying, keep pushing the bit extra. Thank you on behalf of Minal Patel.
Thank you. Good message there. Keep pushing a bit extra. I'd like to invite somebody to speak on behalf of our trustee, Ali Sharif. Ali Sharif.
So this is in behalf of Ali Sharif, and it says, I'm a member-elected trustee to the board of the Westway Trust. Even in my short term on the board, I have understood how seriously the trust is taking its stewardship of the land on behalf of all of us and the community. My fellow trustees bring a range of experience, expertise, and good judgment to the governance of the trust. Our pledge makes our intentions clear. He's sorry that he can't be here with us here today, especially for this key event, but he will be sure that his physical injury which prevents his attendance today.
Thank you. Thank you. So that was Ali Sharif. Unfortunately, he has a physical injury, so he couldn't be here today. Can I ask Ingrid Smith? Ingrid Smith? Ingrid here or not here? Can anyone spot her? Ingrid? Okay, then I'd like to ask Wilf Walker to come forward. Wilf, thank you. Thank you very much, Wilf. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Wilf Walker. I was here before the flyover, and I've been here for nearly 65 years. And I'm here ready to read my son's speech, I suppose, because I'm no longer really involved with this community in the way that I used to be, because I took the hint and moved away. Sorry I can't be with you in person today. As someone who has been involved with the trust for many years, I know both the promise and the failures. My own testimony to the 2-2 review was part of the evidence that exposed the institutional racism within the organization. It's so disrespectful what's happening out there. I am proud of what we have achieved since then. We should be recognized for the progress that is clearly evident. But to be clear, today is it's by no means job done. The negative experience that I and my father, that's me, and countless others have lived through over generations have not yet been repaired. I would be the first to acknowledge that. And we are still working hard to ensure our reparations framework and wider plans lead to lasting positive change. We remain in the process of dismantling systems and cultures of institutional racism, systems that globally have been in place for over 400 years. That is not a quick task, There are few, if any, examples of organizations that have fully succeeded or taken the reins of long-term steps that we continue to pursue. We are ahead of much of the wider sector and treading new ground together. While we certainly haven't done everything right and continue to learn, the pledge is a significant step. It is formal recognition of the long-term commitment required to genuinely repair the damage that has been done. So I want to thank all those who began this work and those who continue it, the staff, the trustees, the community advisory group, the member organizations, the tenants, the partners, and most importantly, the wider community that we're all part of, from holding the trust to account. We are, I believe, moving in the same direction and breaking new ground. Together, we can turn this commitment into real lasting change and create a trust that future generations will be proud of. Thanks.
Thank you, Will. Thank you. So this event is about the pledge. It's not an open mic event. We basically wanted people who had something to say about the pledge to have 2 minutes to say it. We've allowed people to use that 2 minutes however they would like, but that brings to the end the formal proceedings today. What we'd now like to offer you is, for those of you who registered, you will have had a voucher which was given to you to use in the vegan market, which will continue until 8 o'clock tonight. For those of you who wish to carry on speaking, it will be after the formal proceedings and there will be a first speaker's corner. So thank you very much for all of you coming today. I hope we can go forward from this point and work together. And that's the point of having open conversations about what can happen in Bay 56. Thank you very much.
Sadly, I can't wait till it's called a client's ask us at the bridge. Yeah.
One second, can I just get to the bit?
Just please.